Let's see if they can make it happen here with a win. They will be knocking out Geek Fam from MPLI 2023, and they'll also be securing a safer spot into the knockout stage.
Let him cook. Let Coach Bonchan cook. Because sure, my talent prediction was for Geek Fam earlier on, but in terms of draft, I think I'm leaning a little bit towards Blacklist International. Not to mention that we've been wrong 2 times in a row.
Make it 3 question mark?
We'll see. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome you into the land of dawn. The Filipino Blacklist International against the Indonesian Geek Fam ID. The final stand for Geek Fam here. All pressure, all eyes are on them to keep the flag, keep the Indonesian flag flying high.
3 purifies here for the side of Blacklist International, respecting already the heavy CC combination that Geek Fam can force onto them. I think the purify is especially important for Kim Poi, as the Estes wants to try to position himself in the right spot as always, but also if he does get caught, if Geek Fam go for the dive, that Purify will always come in handy to get out of these sticky situations.
And you need that level of respect, right? And I feel like that was a level of respect that was really lacking from Geek Fam ID in their previous game. With Blacklist, full respect on this. It's a question as to how Geek Fam will posture themselves. How will they utilize and how will they bait out these resources in time? Because definitely they need the engage. Beloyski needs to have that moment. So does Luke. But with so many purifies on the board, it's looking very difficult in those team fights later on that happens. But in the early game, in the laning phase, what do you think about the matchups on the side lanes?
Looking at the matchup, let's see the gold lane first, honestly. Iritha versus Bruno. I think we've mentioned this many times, but wait a minute, Niall wants to go in for a bit of a gank here, getting a good chunk of damage onto Dominic, but you should be able to regen that back up with the regeneration. Looking at the matchups, honestly, it's kind of 50-50. Both matchups here are a bit skill matchup, but for the bottom side, XP lane, I have to say that Terizla should have a bit of an advantage in a pure 1v1. If it's a 2v2 or if it's a 3v2, where a boy rotates over, it's not really that good for the Terizla, obviously. Meanwhile, up top, Marky actually going to lose out on that trade, but Geek Fam will trade into the bottom lane with some pressure down here. Beloyski walking up, getting the Earth Shatter onto Dominic, but Dominic goes in with the penalty zone. Luke trying to follow it as well. Kim Poi taking very low with the help of the Purify. Gets out for a bit, but the Brave Spider connects onto the back. Luke gets a good kill. The heavy spin used up by Rindo. Right now he's going to be chain CC'd by Beloyski. And even another comes down. Dominic with a flicker. Luke still able to survive, dodging away from one last hit, and Niall secures the turtle for Geek Fam. One last hit was enough. Meanwhile, up top, there's another fight as well. A chaotic game to start this matchup for knockout stage. Glory, Appraiser's Wrath connecting, but Kim Poi gets a blessing of the Moon Goddess on time. Niall has to respect it, but he doesn't respect it in time, and Haji, the Kada machine, takes him out.
There you go, already 3-1 here in the first 3 minutes of the game. Blacklist slightly leading in economy, but that entire thing was on the back foot of the fast clear coming in from the Lapu Lapu earlier on. There was support from the other Geek Fam members, but that allowed them to set up for the neutral objective first. And therefore, despite the economy lead, it was Geek Fam that was able to get the turtle away from Blacklist. Meanwhile, you see that Al already securing his item. Already the Has clause in his pocket. With Marky struggling there in this gold lane, Beloyski forced to give some support, give some pressure over back onto Al, but Kim Poi always at the right time, at the right place. Always knows where he needs to go, and so far Blacklist is still standing strong.
He's still got to be very careful of the damage that can come through though, from mainly the Lapu Lapu. Luke, on this Lapu Lapu, he's going to be able to gap close so easily, and with the lack of a flicker, that's a very vulnerable Estes. Sure, you have the Purify, but when damage is coming your way, it's a bit tough to evade from it.
Needs setup though, right? Oh no, top side.
Heavy crossbow, a lockdown onto Owl, but with the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, with the healing, they're able to out-sustain and even force Marky back all the way, even forcing a sprint. So it started off as a Purify burnt for nothing, but it ended up with a 1-for-1 sprint for Purify trade, where Marky has actually lost the trade because of the resources that has been burnt away from him. That health bar Not too good, but he's still able to farm quite well. And it should still be Geek Fam who has more pressure around a turtle here as Marky has rejoined the team. Blacklist have already used the Blessing of the Moon Goddess. Penalty zone coming down, but Niall goes in. An amazing retribution. Luke now jumping with the Bravest Fighter, going on to Dominic with that Bravest Fighter. Slashes as the boy pulls Dominic back. Not enough to take him down just yet, but Niall's able to steal away the purple buff from Rindo as he now looks for another engage. Haji goes and pops the black shoes. Geek Fam get a win in the 5th minute of the game.
A slight win here for Geek Fam, being able to equalize the economy now in the 5th minute of the game. And that's what I really wanted to talk about, right? Marky. It looks bad for Marky. I think I've seen a lot of moments where it looks bad for Marky in the laning phase, but somehow he's always able to make it work, right? Because I thought that earlier on, looking at how things work, but the minimap, Kimboy though.
Blessing of the Moon Goddess still helping him out. Good disengage from Rindo as well. But it's a massive resource that has been used up. Baloyski almost falling to the glooms. Haji's following him down. Baits out the Primal Wrath. Baloyski now trying to recall. Gets red out of that bush. Goes back to the robot form. And Rindo will be able to stop that recall. I think he's been stopped 3 times there in terms of the recalls.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Recall, man.
Exactly, right? But yeah, I would have pictured that Marky would be behind 500 gold, but he was actually earlier on only behind 100 to 200. So close your eyes in a little bit. Marky was still able to make it work, but here they go for the defense. I think, oh no, Owl's actually not able to get that last basic attack onto the tower, and it still is going to stand for quite a bit. It looks like Blacklist still want to force it though.
They gotta be careful though. If they use their resources in a way where Geek Fam can punish for just this turret, it'll be very, very costly. But they stay safe. They choose to go back instead. It's a bit too greedy to just, double down on that play. Dominic knocked up by that Earth Shatter, and Baloyski will use the onward, backward.
Onward, backward. Ironic. Geek Fam gonna force the push here in the mid lane in order for them to start setting up for the turtle. So far, it's been a perfect turtle for Geek Fam so far, so let's see if Rindo is going to be able to get this. He is a level behind though, but generally, like you mentioned earlier on, Luke goes very aggressive.
Right onto Kimboy, the damage there, just placed down by Luke, but the Blessing of the Moon Goddess will be used up, and Luke should fall here. He buys a lot of time, Flicker out of the gloom as well, but it's still going to be Haji who picks up the killing spree. Rindo still has a heavy spin, now he's going to be the contestant. Rindo finds it. A good angle with the heavy spin to look for that red tree. Niall zoned away from it. And that's a win for Blacklist International. Even up top in the gold lane, we are seeing that Owl is winning in the trades against Marky.
That was a weird turn of events, right? Sure, I understand Luke goes into the backline, causes some distraction for the team in order for Geek Fam to be able to focus on securing the turtle, but as soon as he went for the engage, it looked like kind of like a back and forth situation for Geek Fam. And they didn't commit onto the turtle that should have been theirs. And then it was Blacklist to just pick up and take under the nose of the setup coming in from Geek. Now, Blacklist, they're rotating towards his top side, gonna give Baloyski here a bit of a difficult time.
No penalty zone on Dominic though. That's a Primal Wrath used up. Luke looking for an angle of flank. Whoa, what happened? Baloy lost his life up top to some poke from the glooms. And to that kill 1 of Dominic. A good pick-off by Blacklist International, though it might have been unintentional. A kill is a kill.
Kill is a kill. 5-1 in 8 minutes. A 2K gold lead here for Blacklist. Taking a look at Haji so far as well, his performance has been very reliable. 302 KDA has not been able to be picked up once. And the beautiful thing about the Lilia, other than the fact that she has really good wave clear, is the fact that she can use the glooms to open up the map, create vision for the team and information without solely relying on Rindo, Kimboy of all people, and of course Dominic to give that information for him. And so Haji's having a good time.
Haji's back to the Kada machine. Look at that, 3-0-2. He's Kadaing very well this game.
Kadaing. I keep forgetting the correct pronunciation.
It's Kada.
It's Kada.
That's how you pronounce KDA. For Haji specifically. For everyone else, it's just KDA. But for him, it's Kada.
Noted.
LaFell made that happen.
Rindo, level 11. as compared to Niall, who's level 12. So he is still far behind. Well, not far. He's one level behind of Niall at the moment. And I'm wondering what the call for Blacklist is. Do they want to go for a 50-50 despite the level difference? Do they want to bank on the fact that he can utilize his heavy spin to negate Niall's pressure in the Retribution battle? But meanwhile, what?
Beloyski going to lose out all the Nether Realm HP, and my goodness, Owl just takes him out of the Land of Dawn. With a few good shots, Luke now jumps in with the Bravest Fighter, goes on to Haji, still able to survive with the help of the Blessing and the Moon Goddess, and Haji survives all throughout, baits the team. Niall's down, Moose flickers forward, gets the stun, but it's not enough damage to really threaten anyone from Blacklist. They'll simply sustain back up a boy, able to dodge away from a few of the skills with a good flicker and a Stampede. Or actually, just a Stampede. What the heck, Blacklist? Dominating in this game, 8-1 now.
So that was the call. They didn't go for the 50-50. They looked for the pickoff instead. They were able to take Beloyski off first and then proceed with 2 more kills in order for them to completely gain control over the neutral objective take. And that was very, I would say, disciplined from Blacklist, despite them knowing that they could still utilize the resources coming in from Rindo. They still didn't want to make that costly decision. Blacklist now with a 5k gold lead. The Lord marching down in the bottom side. Rindo trying to find an opening to maybe take away Niall's purple buff away. Kimboy's there to back him up, but it still will be Niall securing it. But look at the towers falling one by one.
It should fall just like this. I mean, they have the Lord, they have a good siege composition to go with it. Good clear from Haji, good damage on turrets from the Bruno of Owl, the SEA Games gold medalist alongside Dominic. And now they're looking for more around the map. Haji doing some damage. Beloyski trapped in the penalty zone right now. That's going to be the Nether Realm from a boy to save the team in their own base turret. They're the ones struggling this hard. Blacklist are really pushing Geek Fam to their limits. And it certainly will be their limit here if Geek Fam lose. Geek Fam have one last shot at making it a tiebreaker. If they win here, they can have a chance to still make it to the knockout stages, but if they lose, it's all but over.
Is this not deja vu for both Beloyski and Marky? Their
like
fate in the hands of Blacklist International.
Oh,
surely
man.
a different team in Geek Fam and surely a different lineup from Blacklist, but this is a very similar scenario, and I'm pretty sure that Beloyski and Marky want what's theirs. They want vengeance here. But so far, they've literally only been able to take 1 kill, and that's on to Kimboy, the roamer, as we take a look at this replay.
It just felt really organized by Blacklist International, messy by Geek Fam. On paper, that's what both these compositions are supposed to do. Blacklist should stay very, very organized with their front to back and heal back up, out-sustain Geek Fam. Geek Fam tried to make it as chaotic as they could, but it simply just wasn't enough. They were not able to melt down the HP bars fast enough. There's too much healing for the side of Blacklist International, and you're right, Eterna. They certainly would give all of the veterans who always had Blacklist as their last hurdle some PTSD for sure. Beloyski and Marky was part of that Onyx PH lineup, possibly the best team in the world, but just losing out to one very special team that dominated in that year of MLBB almost completely. Blacklist International, a different lineup, but it seems the curse for Beloy and Marky is still true. They just cannot get past Blacklist.
13 minutes in, and like you mentioned, it's not looking good for Geek at all. Sure, they were able to get a small win. They were able to get a turret there in the top side, but Rindo's catched up. He's caught up. Niall, level 15, there certainly is still a level difference. That's something that we can actually appreciate from Niall, right? Because even through hell and high water, everything that he goes for and goes against, the obstacles that he faces, Niall somehow, some ways, always able to stay in the game with that level lead.
Oh, good read by Kim Poi.
Nice.
It was a concealed play from Beloy. That was one of the BBBs that we usually see in MPL Indonesia, the big brain Beloy plays. But this time around, Blacklist are a bit too intelligent for that to work out. Geek fam still in desperation, looking for an angle, a way back into this game, slowly but surely trying to just crawl themselves out of this tough spot.
Chariza's not there.
Not yet.
Geek fam have received information that he was pushing in the bottom lane. There was a small opportunity for them to go for it, but they didn't, and now Dominic is back, and he's looking for his target right now. They know where Beloyski is. Haji is still able to open up vision. Rindo.
He just goes in right now. Gets the flicker out as well. That's a big ultimate, big resource already used up. Dominic jumps in with the penalty zone onto the back of another realm. Saves him for a bit. Niall jumps in with the Appraiser's Brand down with the taunt as well. That's going to be Rindo who secures the Lord for the team. And a boy, one last hit. Oh, it's Owl with a shot down. Fade away. And Rindo takes Luke out of the land of Dawn in the 15th minute of the game. He can come back instantly, but Luke cannot. That's 30 seconds on the death timers.
Oh no, with the waves crashing like this, it looks like Blacklist are looking for the turret in this mid side. Haji picks up a holy crystal out of pure destruction, pure damage now in his arsenal, and they're looking to push more. Look at that tower fall again in the bottom lane, and the Lord hasn't even come yet.
Nope. This has all been minions. Just with minions, Blacklist were able to crack the base open. And maybe just with minions, they might be able to end the game. Dominic with the penalty zone onto the side, not onto the base. Geek fam still able to defend for now. Niall in the midst of it all right now.
Niall.
Healing, forgetting, soaking so much damage as the Lord finally has arrived. Rindo brings Beloyski back to the team with a good heavy spin right now as another round comes through. But it's a bit too late now. Luke jumps in with the Bravest Fighter, but a blessing of the Moon Goddess out-sustains the entire team. It's Owl with a triple kill. The first Maniac, the first Savage might happen. It's a Maniac. One last hit. Is it a Savage? Of course it's not. Of course it's the Estes who steals it.
Game boy!